Morning everybody. Okay, so today I'm basically going to just talk to you about these doors behind me and stripping paint, etc. So basically these are old Maltese doors. I found them on the side of the road. I was lucky enough to find the owner and knocking on a few houses, and she sold them to me for really cheap, so I was super happy with that. They're now going to be upcycled into a dining room tabletop for a client of mine, with a nice big glass slab on top. Basically, what I need to talk to you about is how to strip the paint off of these. I don't have a lot of tools in my workshop, and I would love to send them off for an acid dip just to get it done really quickly. But unfortunately, where I live, to get that done could take a month, if not longer, and you also have a heck of a cost on top of it. So for me, it's not worth it. So what I use is a little heat gun. That's it. And it's a very basic, cheap one, and he's worked wonders for me over time. Then with regards to what tools I use with it, number one, never bother with a paint scraper. It is plastic. It will melt in 2 seconds. There is no use to this thing. Secondly, the plastic also heats up really quickly and you will burn your hand. That brings me to never use a completely metal tool, because again, it heats up, you will burn your hands. Unless you wear gloves. I hate wearing gloves. I got lots of cuts because of that and lots of burns, but I don't like gloves. Right, so my other next go-to tools are just a good old scraper, wooden handle, perfect, works well on large surfaces, and then a chisel. Make it really nice and sharp. It will make your life a lot easier, especially in the fiddly areas. The third thing I do use is this paint scraper. Now it has got a little plastic piece here, so what I tend to do is I'll heat up the area with the heat gun, then I'll remove the heat gun completely and then use this, because I can also use 2 hands and use a lot of force to get off a lot of paint quickly. Whereas with the fiddly areas, I have to keep using the heat gun and then in conjunction with the other 2, the spatula or the chisel. Now, just some other friendly advice. If you're doing something like this for a client, have yourself a moment and do a patch test like I've done over here. Often these wooden things, you think, oh, it's just paint, it's great, it's easy. There can very often be a sealant underneath, which here where I live, it's called red lead, and it's a nightmare to remove. Even though it bubbles, it just like sticks like glue. It's horrible. So the reason I'm saying do the patch test, find out what's underneath, is because before you do costing for a client, you need to check with them if they want the item stripped to the bare wood and therefore sealed and varnished or whatever, or stained even, but have the natural wood, or if they want it painted. If they want it painted, you don't have to be so pedantic about getting right down to the wood. You can just sand it smooth once you've got off the bulk of the paint and paint over that. If they want it to the wood, it's a lot more work. The second thing is, when you do your costing, you cannot give 100% quote, because it could take you an hour, it could take you 10 hours, it could take you 10 days. You need to work out your costing kind of later on these sorts of projects and explain that to the client. Don't be vague, just tell them straight. I don't know how long it's going to take, so therefore I cannot do my costing. Maybe give a ballpark figure if they're insistent on some kind of price, but don't put yourself in a hole and say it's going to cost you X. It takes you a hell of a lot longer and you now are in the hole because the client says, no, but you quoted me this. So always bear those things in mind. I'll give you a quick demonstration of how I do it. I can't really move this thing any closer, I'm very sorry. I'm going to use the chisel first. So let's do this little piece. So I basically just stand with it as close as possible. I don't use any of the heat gun attachments because I just like to blast the whole area. Maybe move around and you'll slowly start to see that the paint will bubble. Once it does, get your chisel underneath, and if you keep going, it will loosen it up and you can keep going. Now, it's very hot, the paint, so you can grab it, but be very careful. Sometimes you're lucky and you can pull off nice pieces, which is great, but typically I would just kind of keep going along this process. I'll see if I can get the stand a bit closer because you really can't see anything. Bear with me. I'll sing for you in the meantime. La 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 la. Ta-da! And let's adjust it. Woohoo! Okay, I'll do a close-up shot now of where I'm working. So, and bear in mind, this is a very, very messy job. You will land up with paint everywhere. Okay, there you go. You can start to see it's coming. It almost goes plasticky depending on how thick the paint is. And you can see on here, there's about 4 or 5 different layers of paint. And I just kind of keep going. What I'm going to do now, I'll just heat up this area. Hi, big boy. Sorry, it's my son coming in. I'm just going to heat this whole area, switch it off. And then I'm going to get this bad boy, and let's see if I can show you. It's a bit difficult at this angle, but you can start to do this. Yeah, you see, this paint is not going to work. It's just too thick, and it's not happy. And the other problem, because the blade is very sharp on this, I'm actually taking out chunks of the wood. So I'm going to stick with the chisel on this particular project. If you have any questions, please contact me on my Facebook page. It's Catherine Mia Designs, or on my Instagram. Up to you. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.